What happens when the thread of consciousness snaps in the realm of dreams and you find yourself experiencing the ultimate transition, the final breath, the moment when life force departs from the dream body and you witness your own death from within the landscape of sleep? Does the consciousness that observes this death within the dream simply dissolve into nothingness, or does it undergo a profound transformation that mirrors the actual process of dying, revealing secrets about the nature of consciousness, the mechanics of interdimensional travel, and the hidden doorways between worlds that have been guarded by mystery schools for millennia? Welcome, soul traveler, to the Eternal Library. Today we dive into one of the most profound and enigmatic phenomena that occurs in the borderlands between waking and sleeping consciousness, a phenomenon that has been studied by Tibetan dream yogis for over 1,000 years, analyzed by contemporary neuroscientists searching for the neural correlates of consciousness, and experienced by countless individuals who have discovered that dying in dreams is not merely a psychological event but a genuine spiritual initiation that can catapult awareness into dimensions of reality normally accessible only through decades of meditation or near-death experiences. The ancient practice of dream yoga, known in Tibetan as milam, meaning illusory body, was developed by Buddhist masters who recognized that the dream state provides a unique laboratory for exploring the mechanics of consciousness and practicing the art of conscious dying, with the great Tibetan yogi Naropa, student of the legendary Tilopa and teacher of the famous translator Marpa, receiving direct transmission of dream yoga techniques that included specific instructions for maintaining awareness during dream death experiences and using these encounters as preparation for the actual death process that every being must eventually face. The Tibetan Book of the Dead, more accurately titled Bardo Thodol, meaning liberation through hearing in the intermediate state, describes 3 bardos or intermediate states of consciousness, including the dream bardo, where consciousness learns to navigate non-physical realms and practice the recognition of clear light awareness that appears at the moment of death, with experienced practitioners reporting that dying in dreams while maintaining lucid awareness creates a direct preview of what occurs during actual physical death and provides invaluable training for navigating the after-death state consciously rather than being swept along unconsciously by karmic winds and habitual patterns. The great Tibetan master Milarepa, who achieved rainbow body realization through intensive yogic practice in mountain caves, taught his students that dream death experiences were opportunities to practice the transference of consciousness known as phawa, explaining that when awareness remains stable and clear during dream death, the practitioner gains confidence in their ability to direct consciousness at the moment of actual physical death, potentially achieving liberation in the intermediate state or choosing their next incarnation consciously rather than being reborn according to unconscious karmic propensities. Contemporary research conducted at Stanford University's Sleep Research Center by Dr. Stephen LaBerge, pioneering scientist in the field of lucid dreaming, has documented measurable physiological changes that occur when individuals experience death in lucid dreams, including distinctive brainwave patterns that mirror those observed in deep meditation states and near-death experiences, suggesting that dream death involves genuine alterations in consciousness rather than mere symbolic psychological processing, with EEG recordings showing increased gamma wave activity in regions associated with expanded awareness and transcendent states of consciousness. The Hindu tradition, particularly as preserved in the Mandukya Upanishad and elaborated by the great philosopher Adi Shankara, describes 4 states of consciousness, including the dream state called swapna, where the individual soul or jiva experiences subtle realms using the astral body, with ancient Vedic texts explaining that dying in dreams represents the temporary dissolution of the subtle body back into causal consciousness, providing direct experience of the process that occurs at physical death when the soul withdraws from the gross physical body through the subtle body and ultimately merges with pure awareness or Brahman, making dream death a profound spiritual practice for realizing the illusory nature of individual identity and the eternal nature of consciousness itself. The Kashmir Shaivism tradition, as taught by masters like Abhinavagupta and preserved in texts like the Vijnanabhairava Tantra, describes dream death as a doorway into the recognition of Shiva consciousness, the dynamic awareness that underlies all apparent manifestations, with practitioners reporting that maintaining witness awareness during dream dissolution reveals the truth that death is merely a transformation of consciousness from one state to another rather than the annihilation of awareness, leading to the direct realization that what we truly are can never die because it was never born and exists as the eternal ground of being itself. Ancient Egyptian mystery schools, whose teachings influenced Greek philosophers and formed the foundation of Western Hermetic traditions, developed elaborate practices around dream incubation in temple chambers where initiates would deliberately enter altered states of consciousness to experience symbolic death and rebirth, with hieroglyphic texts from the Temple of Dendera describing specific techniques for maintaining awareness during dream death that were considered essential preparation for navigating the duat or underworld following physical death, while the Egyptian Book of the Dead contains formulaic instructions for preserving consciousness during the dissolution process that closely parallel the experiences reported by modern dream researchers studying lucid dream death phenomena. The Greek mystery schools of Eleusis, where initiates including Plato, Cicero, and Marcus Aurelius underwent secret initiation rites that were never publicly revealed, reportedly included practices involving sacred substances and dream incubation that allowed participants to experience ego death and conscious rebirth within the dream state, with historical accounts suggesting that these experiences provided initiates with direct knowledge of the soul's immortality and the illusory nature of death, leading to profound transformations in their understanding of existence and their approach to both life and death that influenced the development of Western philosophy and early Christian mysticism. The Hermetic tradition, preserved in texts like the Corpus Hermeticum attributed to Hermes Trismegistus, describes the process of conscious death and rebirth as fundamental to spiritual development, with the famous maxim, "as above, so below," indicating that processes occurring in subtle realms like dreams mirror and influence events in physical reality, while Hermetic alchemists developed elaborate symbolism around the death and resurrection of the philosophical metals that corresponded to stages of consciousness transformation that could be experienced directly through dream work and lucid exploration of death states within the safety of the dreaming mind. Islamic mysticism, particularly as developed by Sufi masters in the tradition of Ibn Arabi known as the Greatest Master, teaches about the death of the ego or nafs during spiritual realization, with practices like muraqabah or Sufi meditation often including visualization of one's own death as a method for transcending identification with the temporary personality and awakening to the eternal nature of the soul, while advanced Sufi practitioners report that experiencing death in dreams while maintaining the remembrance of Allah provides direct taste of the fana or extinction that represents the goal of the mystical path where individual consciousness merges with divine consciousness in a union that reveals the illusory nature of separate selfhood. The Jewish Kabbalistic tradition, as preserved in texts like the Zohar and the teachings of masters like Isaac Luria, describes the soul's journey through multiple levels of reality including dream states where consciousness can experience the death of lower aspects of identity and the awakening of higher spiritual faculties, with Kabbalistic dream work involving specific meditations on the four worlds of emanation that can culminate in experiences of ego dissolution and rebirth in higher states of awareness that mirror the soul's journey after physical death through increasingly refined dimensions of reality toward ultimate unity with the Ein Sof or infinite divine source. Contemporary neuroscientific research conducted by Dr. Eben Alexander, the Harvard neurosurgeon who experienced a profound near-death experience during a coma caused by bacterial meningitis, has revealed striking similarities between the consciousness states accessed during dream death and those experienced during actual clinical death, with brain imaging studies showing that both experiences involve decreased activity in the default mode network associated with ego identity and increased activity in regions linked to expanded awareness and spiritual experiences, suggesting that dream death may provide genuine access to the same dimensions of consciousness explored during near-death experiences without the trauma and danger of actual physical crisis. The work of Dr. Rick Strassman, clinical psychiatrist and researcher into the effects of DMT or dimethyltryptamine known as the spirit molecule, has revealed that the brain naturally produces this powerful psychedelic compound during REM sleep and at the moment of death, with subjects receiving controlled doses of DMT reporting experiences remarkably similar to lucid dream death including encounters with non-physical beings, passage through tunnel-like structures and experiences of consciousness existing independently of the physical body, leading researchers to hypothesize that dream death experiences may involve natural DMT release that facilitates genuine interdimensional travel and communication with discarnate intelligences. Dr. Robert Monroe, founder of the Monroe Institute and pioneer in the scientific study of out-of-body experiences, documented thousands of cases involving conscious death experiences during altered states of consciousness including lucid dreams, with Monroe's own journey through what he termed focus levels of consciousness revealing that dying in dreams often serves as a portal into non-physical dimensions where consciousness can communicate with deceased individuals, access akashic records of past and future events, and receive teachings from advanced spiritual beings who exist beyond the physical plane, suggesting that dream death is not symbolic but involves actual translation of awareness into subtler dimensions of reality. The shamanic traditions of indigenous cultures worldwide have recognized dream death as a fundamental aspect of spiritual initiation, with Siberian shamans undergoing ritual dismemberment and death in dream visions as part of their calling to serve as bridges between worlds, while Amazonian ayahuasqueros report that plant medicine ceremonies often involve death experiences within dreamlike states that allow the soul to travel to other dimensions, communicate with plant spirits and ancestor guides, and return with healing knowledge and expanded awareness that can only be accessed by surrendering the fear of death and allowing consciousness to explore realms beyond physical embodiment. The Australian Aboriginal tradition of Dreamtime includes teachings about the death of the everyday self within the eternal dreaming, with Aboriginal elders explaining that walkabout journeys often involve dream experiences where young initiates must die to their childhood identity and be reborn as adults with full access to the spiritual powers and responsibilities that come with recognizing the illusory nature of linear time and separate existence, while the songlines that map the continent represent pathways of consciousness that can be accessed through dream death experiences that reveal the interconnected web of life that underlies apparent physical separation. Native American vision quest traditions involve deliberate exposure to conditions that can trigger dream death experiences including fasting, isolation, and sleep deprivation, with many Native American spiritual leaders reporting that their calling came through powerful dreams involving their own death and rebirth that provided them with spirit guides, healing abilities, and direct knowledge of the continuity of consciousness beyond physical existence, while the understanding that all life is interconnected through the web of spirit means that dying in dreams often involves direct communication with the spirits of animals, plants, and ancestors who exist in the eternal realm that can be accessed through surrendering identification with the temporary physical form. The practice of conscious dream death, according to advanced practitioners across multiple traditions, involves maintaining witness awareness throughout the dissolution process rather than identifying with the dream ego that appears to be dying, with experienced lucid dreamers reporting that the key is to remain as the observer of the death experience rather than the victim of it, allowing consciousness to watch with detached curiosity as the dream body dissolves and the familiar structures of identity fade away while the core awareness that observes all experience remains untouched and eternal, revealing the profound truth that what we truly are cannot die because it was never born and exists as the unchanging witness of all changing phenomena. The mechanics of consciousness transfer during dream death, as described by practitioners of Tibetan dream yoga and confirmed by contemporary lucid dreaming researchers, involves several distinct phases beginning with the recognition of the dream state through lucidity triggers or reality checks, followed by the deliberate cultivation of dream death scenarios through intention setting and visualization, then the maintenance of clear awareness during the dissolution process as the dream body appears to die and the familiar dream environment begins to fade, culminating in the translation of consciousness into what Tibetan masters call the clear light state where pure awareness exists without any object or content, providing direct experience of the ground of being from which all dreams, thoughts, and experiences arise and into which they eventually dissolve. Advanced practitioners report that repeated experiences of conscious dream death create profound transformations in their relationship to physical death, reducing death anxiety and increasing confidence in the continuity of consciousness beyond bodily existence, while also developing the ability to access expanded states of awareness and communicate with non-physical beings during both dream and waking states, suggesting that dream death practice represents a form of consciousness training that prepares individuals for the ultimate spiritual adventure of physical death by providing safe opportunities to explore the mechanics of consciousness transition within the protected environment of sleep. The phenomenon of shared dream death experiences, documented by researchers studying mutual dreaming and reported by couples, families, and spiritual communities around the world, suggests that consciousness transfer during dream death may involve genuine interdimensional communication rather than purely subjective experience, with multiple individuals reporting simultaneous dreams involving the death of one member of their group followed by that person's appearance in a luminous or transformed state providing guidance, healing, or important information that could not have been obtained through normal waking consciousness, indicating that dream death may create temporary windows into the same non-physical dimensions that souls inhabit between incarnations and from which they can communicate with their loved ones still in physical embodiment. The integration of dream death experiences into daily life requires careful attention to the psychological and spiritual implications of repeatedly encountering one's own mortality within the dream state, with experienced practitioners emphasizing the importance of grounding practices, community support, and guidance from qualified teachers who understand the transformational potential and possible dangers of this profound work, while also recognizing that dream death experiences often Precipitate major life changes including career shifts, relationship transformations, and deepened spiritual commitment as individuals realize the temporary nature of their current identity and the eternal nature of their essential being, leading to a natural reorientation of priorities towards spiritual growth, service to others, and preparation for the inevitable transition that awaits all embodied souls. The scientific implications of dream-death research are revolutionary for our understanding of consciousness, suggesting that awareness is not produced by the brain but rather uses the brain as an interface for interacting with physical reality, with dream-death experiences providing evidence that consciousness can exist and function independently of neural activity, challenging materialistic assumptions about the nature of mind and supporting ancient wisdom teachings about the immortal nature of the soul while opening new avenues for research into postmortem survival, reincarnation, and the possibility of communication between physical and non-physical dimensions of existence. The therapeutic applications of conscious dream-death work are being explored by progressive psychologists and transpersonal therapists who recognize that fear of death underlies many psychological disorders including anxiety, depression, and existential crisis, with carefully guided dream-death experiences providing safe opportunities for individuals to confront their mortality, release attachment to temporary identities, and access the profound peace and freedom that comes from recognizing their eternal nature, while also allowing for the processing of grief, trauma, and unresolved relationships through direct communication with deceased loved ones who may appear during dream-death transitions. The preparation for conscious dream-death involves developing basic lucid dreaming skills through reality checks, dream journaling, and awareness practices during waking hours, followed by specific techniques for inducing death scenarios within lucid dreams including visualization of the dissolution process, surrender to the experience of ego death, and cultivation of witness awareness that remains stable throughout the transformation, while advanced practitioners also work with mantras, prayers, and protective visualizations drawn from their chosen spiritual tradition to ensure that the death experience occurs within a sacred context that honors the profound nature of consciousness exploration and maintains connection to sources of wisdom and guidance throughout the process. The dangers and contraindications of dream-death work must be carefully considered, as repeated exposure to death experiences can be psychologically destabilizing for individuals who lack sufficient ego strength, spiritual preparation, or support systems, with qualified teachers emphasizing that this practice should only be undertaken by those who have established a solid foundation in meditation, dream work, and psychological self-awareness, while individuals with histories of trauma, mental illness, or suicidal ideation should approach this work only with professional guidance and within the context of comprehensive therapeutic support that can address any challenging material that may arise during consciousness exploration. The cultural and religious contexts that support dream-death practice provide essential frameworks for understanding and integrating these profound experiences, with traditional societies offering initiation rites, spiritual mentorship, and community recognition of the significance of consciousness transformation, while modern practitioners often must create their own support systems through spiritual communities, study groups, and relationships with teachers who understand the territory of expanded awareness and can provide guidance for navigating the challenges and opportunities that arise from direct encounters with the mystery of death and rebirth within the realm of dreams. If this journey into the profound mystery of dream death and consciousness transfer resonated with your soul's deepest knowing about the nature of existence beyond physical embodiment, share this ancient wisdom with fellow seekers who are ready to explore the ultimate frontiers of human consciousness and join our community of truth explorers who understand that death is not an ending but a transformation into expanded awareness and unlimited possibility. Let us know in the comments what experiences you have had with death in dreams and how these encounters have influenced your understanding of consciousness and mortality. For the path of awakening to our eternal nature is walked together as we support each other in remembering the magnificent truth that what we truly are can never die because it was never born and exists as the changeless witness of all changing experiences. Thank you, soul traveler, for joining this exploration of the mysteries that await those brave enough to surrender the illusion of separate existence and discover the deathless essence that is their true identity.